The Minimalist CEO Podcast. One focused power system, 8 radical shifts, how to unleash your calling through the gifts formula, overcoming obstacles with the excuse removal blueprint, and the recipe for living and leading your ultimate thriving life and business.
Hey, why does everyone have to be so serious? This stuff's fun. Now let's get to it.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
With over 3 decades of business building, 2 decades as contract CEO, mentoring billion-dollar companies, entrepreneurs, startups, and everything in between. Known as the Minimalist CEO, this guy has helped cut the fat, grow revenue in hundreds of companies by teaching how to integrate life and business, work less, and love life as the way to win.
I'm Nate Lindquist, the Minimalist CEO, and also your Sherpa on this little journey. So let's dive in.
Hey, what's going on? Nate Lindquist here in the Minimalist CEO podcast. Welcome to episode number 40. It's good to be back. And I've got a special guest here. Have you ever heard the guy in the movies who does you're gonna have to do the voice from the dog barks in the distance. So can you do one of your voices? This is Nick Omana, by the way, flew in from California. Where are you in California, Nick?
I'm down in Los Angeles, San Pedro specifically, or Pacifically, depending on how you look at it.
Ooh, and he's also a comedian. So it's good to have you here. Nick's been a client for over 5 years, almost 5.5 years.
Yep.
And also tremendously talented voiceover artist, also completely committed to changing the industry, changing the voiceover industry. So I'm pretty excited to have you on the show. And today we're going to cover some pretty interesting topics. First of all, we're going to start about talking about the breakdown in trust that's been happening in business and sort of all the silver bullets and Kool-Aid that's been going on. We've had a chance to step back and take a look at the challenges that business owners are facing right now. And it's like everyone's telling you all this stuff about you got to have, a unique Google account, you got to have Google Maps, and you got to have this kind of advertising, and this is the thing that's going to help. And it's like there's all this seeking going on, and there's all this overspending on marketing. You got to have marketing. You definitely have to have people who know how to do copy. You have to know how to do ads. But I think that there's a huge thing missing. So we're going to talk today about the thing that's missing right now. If you're trying to grow your business, we're committed to that. The Minimalist CEO, we're really about helping people do less but better, to focus on what's essential, to discard the rest. And part of that is understanding where's the breakdown. So that's what we're going to talk about, Nick. Nick's, like I said, Nick's been a client of mine for over 5 years, and now he's also benefiting from understanding this missing piece. So we're not going to reveal it yet. But Nick, I think you're noticing it too. You're noticing that sort of the reason we started talking 5.5 years ago has changed quite a bit. So quick introduction and tell me what you think about that, about what we're doing here.
What you're doing here is phenomenal. It's really taken, I've seen the evolution of it. The efficacy of it is, I think, much more streamlined, much more direct. It's all the same parts.
It's all about contrast, folks.
Yes.
More direct than what?
Than your previous version of what you were doing. This is really taking it down to the essence and really stripping it down to the nuts and bolts and just the bare essentials.
Yeah.
And it's really clear, it's very straightforward and highly actionable.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gone back to basics, we've gone back to the core of what makes businesses grow. And although you have to have business machines and you have to have business systems, what we're starting to talk about is what creates that missing piece in a business. What makes the customers fall away even before they're on the sales call? What is it that makes people not buy? What is it that makes the business owner not perform, makes the team not perform? So we're going to be spending a ton of time on that, not on this episode, but I mean having some freaking tools as a business owner to know how is it that you can grow your business, have an incredible life, feel fulfilled, feel healthy, and also be excited about making a difference for other people. Actually making a difference for other people. Instead of just hey, how can I make more sales? How can I make more money? It's the to-do list lifestyle. It's the how much money can I make lifestyle, and transitioning that into how can I thrive? How can I be fulfilled? We are announcing a new event that's coming up in October. We're announcing Ultimate Thriving Life. My first event that I did with my own venue, and we had a tremendous following at the time. Fantastic turnout, very successful event. It was called Awaken Your Ultimate Thriving Life. And now we're going back, we're launching Ultimate Thriving Life. And the baseline foundation of this, a little bit what Nick is alluding to, is called the One Focus Power System. And what it does is it helps business owners understand the purpose behind what they're doing and actually power and fuel, instead of having to-do lists, fuel the outcomes, getting super clear about outcomes, having it be purpose-driven outcomes, and then creating a plan of action and keeping it simple. And then also engaging with the business as an owner, being able to say, you know what? I do this because I freaking love being here. I do this because I trust myself, and there's the magic word.
There it is.
There's the reveal. And you can chime in anytime you want, Nick. I would say that the major reason businesses are struggling right now is because with all the messages out there and all the ads and everyone trying to go out and win and grow and get clever and hire massive copywriting teams and massive ad teams, there's a lot of skepticism. There's a huge lack of trust. And at every single touch point, every single place where your business touches somebody's life, where they learn about you, where they see what you're up to, where they're trying to solve a problem in their life. It doesn't matter if you're whatever service business you're in, whatever store you have, whatever you're trying to sell. When you don't understand where the breakdown in trust is happening, then at every single interaction, every single connection with someone, or what we call a touch point, trust is either made and it grows and expands, or it's broken. And it's pretty shocking what we're seeing right now. Actually, there's when you have a list of services in your business, where you list on your website your list of services, and if someone can look at your list of services and it's at all like somebody else, already when you do that in a certain way, which we can talk about in a little bit, you're actually breaking trust. So you can advertise that list of services, you can advertise what business you're in, you can have a tagline that focuses on services, and what happens is people stop trusting you. Also, the first 10 to 20 words a salesperson says when a call comes in to a prospective customer automatically becomes a breakdown in trust, or it builds trust. So understanding this, we've done a ton of research over the last 4 months, and we are bringing you a whole series of episodes to really give you the tools so you can start cultivating trust, and what we call generating at each touch point what we call trust signals, meaning that the way that you trust yourself as an owner, the way your team trusts you, and then the way your buyers or prospective buyers actually trust the products and services and trust you and your team to deliver on those things.
So may I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Where does trust begin?
So trust starts with the individual. It starts with human beings. We're kind of making a huge shift here in business, not kind of, that's a softener. We're making a big shift to humans, like talking with humans. And trust starts with when you're saying a message, writing copy, putting out a video, running ads, building your website, anything that you do to put your business forward facing in front of other people. Brochure, product list, advertising, you name it, marketing plan, even putting a team together in the way that you hire and the way that you train. How much you, as the visionary leader of the business, trust yourself. Trusting yourself when you start the day to have the intention to actually, you can say, I want to have great quality and great service and really make a difference for people in their lives. But then the actions that go on behind the door, that go on behind the message, that's where trust either is made or broken first. So if there's any part of the business leader, what we're finding out is they're running. We have people that call us and we get referrals all the time, and these owners are calling and they're saying, we're spending all this money, we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on ads, but we're not getting the leads, our sales aren't converting, or they say we need to get more leads. It's like, well, what's wrong with the ones that you have? They don't trust them because that business owner doesn't trust themselves. They don't want to be at their office because they're getting burned out. They're overwhelmed. They talk about wanting to grow a business, but really what they mean is, I want to get through the day, I want to get through the week. There's no sense of purpose and drive. We talked earlier, Nick. Nick is actually amazing as a voiceover talent, and he's on a mission right now to help a lot of talented artists are being derailed. They're losing money, they're losing respect, they're losing opportunities in the voiceover business because there's been this race to cheap voiceover work, and there's been a lack of respect for this incredible talent of being a voiceover artist. It's just been like, hey, can I get a soundbite? Can I get a clip? Can I go to Sound Dogs? Can I go to Fiverr? And so anyways, Nick and I were talking earlier about this incredible feeling of being on purpose and telling his story about what matters to him, what the driving force is behind building this amazing multi-six-figure individual organization. He's built this amazing business where he gets to have this lifestyle that provides for him and provides for his family. And you're 69 now, Nick?
69. Yeah.
So you've been doing voiceovers for how long?
40 years.
For 40 years. Yeah. And your story, you're like this Yoda of voiceover, and you have this story to tell. I call you like Voda, voiceover Yoda. Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. And, but you've got a story, you've got a purpose, and you've got a clear outcome. And we spent some time on that today. So, you know what would be fun? As we talk about this, because what I want to do before the podcast episode is over is if you're in business and you're feeling like, you know what, I spend my day looking at Post-its, messy office, to-do lists everywhere, and I'm not really sure what the next step is, but I don't even know that I want to be there. I'm looking for I'd like to work less. I would like to actually get clients, and I think I'm going to be busy, I'm going to be more stressed out. More sales means more work. If you're in that place where you're like frustrated, or you're hearing everyone talking about business systems, and you're like, you know what? I would put a business system in place, but the fact is, I'm bored. I'm not even that interested. There's some place I'd rather be. Or you're just like, you know what? I'm tired. And you want to feel alive and excited about what you're building. It's amazing what it does to business and getting that team to become cohesive and your team to rally behind you and have a heart for what you're doing. It comes from this amazing place of actually being on purpose and loving what you're doing. And there's a formula that we have, this One Focus Power System, and a very specific process called the POP block, P-O-P block, which is like building blocks, the building blocks of your life, of your business, of the things that matter to you. And when we go through it, I'll take you step by step through it so you can understand and maybe think a little bit for yourself about do you want to be doing to-do lists and struggling through building your business and struggling through the grind and feeling like it kind of sucks? Or would you like to feel like an artist and actually build a business that feels awesome and feel like you're creative and that you have space and time? You know, one of the things that Nick and I did today, and I do regularly, is I went for a walk down by the river. I put my cell phone away. I knew I'd want to do some videos. I knew I wanted to, take some selfie pictures and other things like that. And I don't know if we actually did the selfie, but we'll make sure we do that. But like this, having space, designing freedom into your day and into your business. And what's happened, first of all, Nick, I'm going to have him introduce himself a little bit more and talk about what he does. But I'd love you to share a little bit about yourself. But I want you to talk about what the journey has been like as you've started to add purpose. You came to me and said, listen, I want to get some more clients. I got to make some more money. And talk a little bit about your business, because I've talked enough for now. We'll go back to the POP block so people understand, how do you get purpose? How do you drive the fuel of purpose and feel like, oh my God, I wake up in the morning and I see the lives I'm going to change. This isn't about being woo, by the way. And you know me well enough. This is like cutting through the bullshit and actually caring about people, not just numbers, caring about difference making, not just money, caring about waking up and feeling alive and pumped to be building the business that you're building. So Nick, okay, your turn. Tell me about your background. Introduce everybody to what you do, because it's awesome what you do. And actually, if you heard the podcast intro, it's this guy. And before we go, will you do a demonstration of a voiceover, something that you've done or said?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
No, I've been very, very fortunate in my career on many different levels. I was fortunate to have learned from some of the best in the business. I was fortunate to be supported and mentored by them. And I've spent the last 40 years doing this. I've made my living at it the last 38. But somewhere along the line, you get to a point where it's like, okay, I've been also a coach and teacher and mentor myself in the voiceover space. But you kind of get to a point where you need to change things up. And that's when I reached out to Nate. And I can tell you, it has been a journey for me. I'm not the fastest learner.
Well, I think what you wanted to find out how to do some better marketing. You were kind of like one of those, I need better systems.
Yeah.
And it's like systems and marketing, these are buckets. And like, if you're not really pouring who you are, like authentically who you are, and this magic that we all have these gifts inside of us, and we're not pouring that into those buckets, then what people see is going to be just like everybody else. It's going to be one more company. There's no heart, there's no soul, there's no connective tissue, and everyone's making decisions with this instead of with this. So you came to me, you wanted ads, man. You said I need to get more customers. I want to get more, I want to be able to get more students. I want to get more voiceovers, and you're already kicking ass in what you're doing. But What's changed since that first conversation until now, once you decided to actually take action?
Well, and that's it. It's changing the focus, making the commitment, following through. It's always the consistency of what you do. It's all about just, there are no other options. You have a goal, you have something you're going to go after, and you're going to commit to it 100%. Because
Now, is it all about making more money though? Or,
Oh, no, no, no.
let's talk about the distinction of, like, looking at, I mean, I just shared a little bit of your purpose, but anyone listening is probably thinking, like, great, I got to make more money. Great, I got payroll coming up. And they don't really want to get caught up in, like, one more person talking about systemizing their business. I mean, let's face it, systematizing your business, getting your SOPs in place, it should take no more than a day or two. Now, training on it's going to take a few months. Having roles and goals and a clear picture of the 5 forces of a business, understanding these business machines, that's a process. But that's not where the fun is, and that's not what makes a business grow. In the sustainability, the gas in the tank, if you could talk a little bit about the difference, and we spent some time on it working together here over the last several years, but knowing your purpose, knowing why, what happened when you understood why you're doing it versus, hey, I got to get more customers.
Well, it really boils down to helping people basically with, there's something I can provide that is missing in either their career or the way they've been, taught to do this, or how they go after work, any and all of that stuff.
In the voiceover space.
In the voiceover space, yeah. And it comes down to reaching out to help people, because in the 40 years that I've been doing this, I've probably come across pretty much every situation you can come up against in the business.
What year did you start?
1984.
1984.
Yeah.
George Orwell.
Yeah, exactly.
Did it all come true?
Some scarily so, yes.
Yeah. That was Creepy Eyes. Right now, just so you know, that was Creepy Eyes, what you just did. Did you guys see that?
So, but it's amazing how things have changed, but basic business concepts do not.
Okay.
Really, I mean, it comes down to one thing. You put out a good product, you over-deliver, and the customer is happy. And there's a value to be had.
Sure.
And so...
Man, everyone can do that. So what's become, I mean, what's become important for you, because you have this history, you have this journey, you have something deep down that matters to you. What have you noticed the difference between, hey, I've got this service, I can help you get a voiceover, or I can help you build your voiceover business, versus, let me tell you what's going on in the industry and what really matters to me when you get down into your heart. And maybe, you know what, maybe so if our listeners can actually hear what's going on in the voiceover industry, and why does helping voiceover artists share their craft and be respected in what they do, why does that matter to you? Maybe share that.
It's been a double-edged sword in some way with COVID and everything else. I've had a home studio, broadcast quality home studio, for over 15 years. Up to the point when COVID hit, I'd had one for 12.
Okay.
And so when COVID did hit, I was uniquely positioned to take advantage of it, because only 10% of us had broadcast quality home studios. So I worked solid 7 days a week for 2.5 years. It was crazy. It was wonderful in some regard, but a little crazy. But what happened is suddenly very few of us, as I said, had home studios. That became the norm.
Okay.
That became the standard that every producer and client expected a voiceover talent to have. So suddenly everybody thought, well, I can do this. I can talk. I've got a closet I can do this in. And there was a sudden influx of a lot of very, I don't want to say, I don't mean this in a bad way. There are a lot of mediocre talent out there.
You're very nicely put. You don't have to edit yourself for the Minimal CEO podcast, dude. Just say it. There's no whatever you got to do it. Say it.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who really
Did it piss you off, Nick?
Oh, very much so. Because
did it hurt other artists? Did it hurt the people who were trying to make a living? You're out there trying to raise the bar in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
You're out there trying to improve pay scale. You're trying to out there and get out there and get people connected and say, like, this is a craft. This is an art. And you got people out there creating a race to the bottom, getting onto these cheap sites, building wholesale voiceover sites with overseas talent, and creating these bizarre sort of pools of junk.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is people have really, when they first enter the business, it's a little nebulous, it's a little unstructured to the, to the beginner coming in. It's highly structured, and there's a lot to it you need to understand. But the first and most important thing you need to understand after you have your abilities to go out and be able to compete is what you're worth. And because people are used to working for an hourly wage, great, I just made, let's say $50.
You're talking about this glut of people, this flood of people who came in and said, "Oh, I can do it too."
I made $50 in 10 minutes. So I'm working for $500 an hour. Yes, if you're working every minute of a work day and you have those jobs. But in most cases, if you make $50 and you're only working maybe once or twice a week doing that job, you're not going to be able to live on $100. But in the meantime, you're undercutting the scale for everybody else out there because that job went to somebody. The client really should have known better, and a lot of them don't. It's up to us to educate them, and it's up to us in the business who have been doing this for a while to educate the new people coming in. Would you rather have, 10 jobs at $300, or would you rather have one job at $3,000? That's out there
on a contract.
Oh, and I was
corporate contracts.
I've been the voice of training for the Department of Defense for the Navy, in more specifically, for the last 27 years.
Okay.
And they pay me very well because they know what I'm worth. They actually, the producer actually, an admiral wanted to get something out, needed to be done right away. I was out of town. I wasn't going to be back until 3 days later. He said, "Well, this has to be up." And I said, "Well, he's out of town. He'll be back. Replace him." And the producer said, "No. By the time I find somebody that can do what he does as well as he does, as fast as he does, he'll be home and have it done." And I actually
you master your craft.
Well, I delivered 2 days early because I know what I'm doing, and they know me well enough.
So you're talking about the problem in the industry. Why does it matter to you? Why do you care whether other artists? You obviously have it locked up. You're kicking butt. You're doing business in Hollywood. You're doing business in LA. You're doing business for the movies. You're in business for big commercials and commercial businesses. You're doing it for the government. And if you listen enough and you'll do a couple voices, you'll recognize this voice. So why do you care about the other artists and their living?
Well, first and foremost, I've had a wonderful career, and I'm not hanging up my shingle anytime soon. I plan to do this until the day they plant me in the ground.
Well, we just did your 20-year plan today.
Yeah.
So 69 years old. A quick round of applause for Nick Omana, who makes his 20-year plan, and we set some serious goals today for you, and went through the pop blocks. So we get clear on the purpose-driven, outcome-focused plan of action. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do a 20-year plan." That's awesome. Almost 70 years old, so that's rock solid.
But it's, the reason is, quite frankly, I want it to be my legacy. I've had a wonderful career that I would love other people coming into the business to be able to look toward having that kind of career, to have the kind of fun. I can't tell you how much I love what I do, but I get up every day to do something I absolutely love doing. And my agent, many years ago, she always used to say, "Yeah, he'd do it for free if I didn't make sure he got paid." I wouldn't go that far, but it is the best gig.
But you're
in the
not
world.
retiring anytime soon, right?
Oh, heck no. No. I love it.
This guy's the Energizer Bunny. He flies in on the red eye to come in and do the podcast. And we just spent, 11 and a half hours kicking ass, looking at what your vision is, where you're going for the future, what your driving purpose is, what your story is. And now he's given us the ability to have him on the podcast. And here you are, 69 years old, and we're about to go for a walk, and then we're going to grab some dinner. You won't be back to your hotel until 10:30, 11 tonight. And then what time's your flight tomorrow?
I leave at 9:15.
Okay.
So I got to be at the airport by about 7:15.
So no time, barely any time for beauty sleep.
Yeah.
A little bit of time.
Well, beauty sleep, really? Come on.
When you got it, you got it, right? You got it. All right. Well, Nick, this is a great story, and I think with everyone listening, dude, you care about people. And I think the problem that we've seen, and it's kind of like this is my driving force, is at the root, at the baseline of building businesses, business systems are easy. So these people, don't get me wrong, it's very powerful to see some of these business systems trainings, like scaling Rockefeller Habits that teach scaling systems, Traction, amazing program. I have clients who've gone through it. We have a program where in 2 days we can put together your SOPs and all your systems. And part of the reason we do that is like, listen, let me show you how simple it is. It doesn't mean you've trained it. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean you're not going to have to edit it. But the idea of understanding, it's sort of like building a business system is not the thing that makes your business grow. It's part of what makes it grow. It's like you've got to have systems, or you're going to be reinventing the wheel all the time. Super important. Plus, you don't want to forget the part about having people who come on board have a vision, having people who come on board understanding here's how we do things at the company. But it's kind of become this silver bullet. SOPs and everything would be great. It's like, well, what kind of crap are you pumping into the bucket called I don't want to be here, but I have a great system. My team doesn't want to be here and they don't trust me, but I have a great system. We're getting a lot of customers, but we're kind of sick of the work. We're burned out. We're taking a lot of 24/7 jobs, but we got a great system. And what I've decided to do is kind of go back to basics and say, listen, let's not be so clever about the services that you're promising. Let's get more clear about why the hell you're doing it. And the people out there, human beings, hearts and souls, who freaking need some help. They have a problem. God bless problems. Thank you for the problems that we have. But now let's look at the core problem, which is, let's face it, there's, in business, owners, leaders, managers, and team members are burning out. They're dissatisfied. There's a feeling of getting through it, self-medicating. They're going after the gummies. They're going after that extra glass of wine or beer. It's like, let me get through this so I can get home, so I can do something I want to do. And what I would love to see, and what I'm on a mission to do, is demonstrate that when a team is on fire with a purpose and understands crystal clear what their outcome is, that's bigger than them, where the why is bigger than them, the plan of action suddenly becomes so clear. And then getting a set of, what happens, a lot of companies have rituals. And what it is, these are patterns of unconscious behavior of arguing with each other, blaming each other, pushing as hard as they can to get the work done, fighting to make more money. But what's missing from that is wanting to be there, looking at being mission oriented, thinking about when we get together and we go out here and we do this project, we're going to kick some ass for someone. And they're going to be like, whoa, you just over-delivered. But on top of that, and a great system to boot, I feel like you wanted to be here. Imagine, I don't know how many times, I don't know about you, Nick, what you've seen, but you buy these services, you work with people, and they're going through the motions. Yeah. They're saying quality delivery, our team really cares. And you can see there's no fire behind people's eyes anymore. No. They're showing up, and there's this hope that things will be better. And there's these owners that I meet business owners doing $10, $15, $20 million a year. And they're telling me I got all this money, I'm making all this money, but I'm completely unhappy, I'm unfreaking fulfilled. So that fulfillment, it's the quality of life. I believe, and what I've seen is the quality of life is how you feel in any given moment. So there's all this it's the way I was brought up is you better work, and we talked about it today on the drive. You better be working because you're getting paid because it's hard. And now, ready for this? Don't enjoy it because that's irresponsible. There's this element of maybe you enjoy what you're doing a little bit, but you better be kind of overdoing it. It's grind it so hard that your life kind of sucks while you're doing this. And then how about this? Have a financial goal so you can retire, have a number of customers, a number of team members, and so maybe then I can step away. But imagine what if you could be on this adventure, be on this novel ride of absolutely loving what you're doing. Yeah. And while you're looking around, everyone's what the fuck? Everyone's running Google ads. Everyone's driving to have the best copy. Everyone's driving to have a clever pitch page, landing page, offer page, bigger promise. Why do you think there's skepticism? Why do you have business owners saying, I'd love your help, but I think you're full of shit? It's because most people are full of shit. They don't really genuinely care. So feel free to speak to that.
Yeah, no, I think it really, the thing that I've found over the years, and I've had it reinforced by what you've said, but I never call looking for work. I always call offering help. Mm. And when you have a genuine interest in the problems or the needs of your client, and they know that, if you take the time to ask them these things, you develop a relationship. And let's face it, I don't care what anybody says about the internet and how we market things and do stuff. it's still, everything is a relationship business. I would rather work with somebody I know who can deliver on a scale of 1 to 10 an 8 because I know I can get them to the 10 than somebody who gives me a 10 but I don't know anything about. Was it a fluke? Are they going to be able to do it? Are they going to be nervous? You know, so
Do you have the skepticism when they make a big promise? Oh, we're the best in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They haven't proven it to me yet.
But
and they haven't
dude, did
taken
you
the
see
time
the
to ask me.
pictures? Did you see the pictures on our website?
Yeah.
Dude, come on, we're the best. Did you see our awesome logo and tagline? You know, as you talk about this, Nick, like what I want to share something that we talked about a little bit earlier, the idea of trust signals. So going back to the idea of, this is basically something that we've created in the way that I work with business owners, is something called the trust triangle. And the idea is when you say you care about someone, you say you have this great way of helping them, but then all you do is copy a service list that's what the industry standard is. You know, this is industry standard. And there's what's missing from that is an obsession with understanding the risks and the gaps and the dangers and the consequences of not navigating, crossing that from having the problem to getting your help. Most people don't know the risks that happen if that's not handled safely, correctly, accurately, following a process. So like how many times people will say, well, here's our process of working with us. But imagine saying, here's what's going to suck. Here's where you're going to be overwhelmed. Here's where you may try to save money, but it's going to cost you later. Here's some of the functionality. Here's some of the execution where your home, your family, your finances are going to be at risk. People don't want to tell you, you know what? No business, no problem solving, no service delivery is a perfect game. So how many people are saying, listen, I don't know how this is going to go, but we're like Sherpas. It's like step one of the trust triangle. Becoming Sherpas, understanding what I call the danger and assumption gap. I'm going to go get this help. I could speak recently. We have someone who's going to come down and fix our koi pond at my house. This guy's like, oh yeah, like great marketing, everything we're going to do, we'll take care of it. Really nice kid. He's going to come down and take care of everything in our house. We get this beautiful 2 waterfalls and this beautiful setup. And they come down and one of our koi fish dies and the pond doesn't get fixed properly and the lights don't get fixed properly. And the thing is, they didn't tell us, here's some of the problems that can happen during the winter. They didn't tell us, let me prepare you for this. What they did was they sold us on all these good things and they left out the dangers, the risks, and the problems that can happen during the process. So what does that do? It immediately breaks trust, but it also reminded me being here to help other humans, because we're like moving into the human business now. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's the best you can do? Wouldn't it be interesting if the next time someone worked with your company or you worked with someone and you start with demonstrating your obsession with understanding, like there's a canyon between, there's like a fissure, a dangerous leap, whatever it is. You got to cross this rope bridge from having a problem to getting to the solution on the other side. But you know what? It is going to be a little risky. There are going to be some problems. And imagine being able to articulate the problems and even document those problems and say, but don't worry, we're going to go through it with you. We're going to understand how to mitigate the downside, how to eliminate some of the risk or reduce some of the risk, but not say everything's going to be great, but say, you know what? Let's face it, I've never had a landscaper who shows up every time. When, you know, my wife always says, there's no, you know, we have, never say always and never. That's a funny thing to say. But the idea is like, it's true. When someone's like, oh no, we'll always be down there. Quality will be great. We'll always cut it right. Everyone will always be safe. It'll never get too long. And guess what? That's crap. It's bullshit. And anyone who's making these big, heavy-duty, intense, you're sick of your lawn being too long, you're sick of people not showing up on time, you're sick of people not billing you too much, you're sick of having a stupid kid who runs over your kid's toys in the lawn. It's like, yes, I'm sick of that. I totally get that you're going to introduce a unique mechanism or some other bullshit that we've been pumped into our heads. But can you just tell me what this is really going to be like? You can say, listen, we have mostly young high school kids. Some of them are college kids. They have a tough time keeping a schedule. And they're going to work really hard, and sometimes they'll disappoint you and not show up. But we'll do our best if you reach out to get someone back out there if that happens. Like, think about how that feels. And incidentally, be like, hey, by the way, they'll forget to bring gas. They'll let your tractor run out of gas. They'll let your mower run out of gas. We've got a zero turn, a skag. You know, let's look at, they'll run into your fence sometimes. Even if it costs you $500 or $1,000 to fix a little section of fence. You know, we got this beautiful SFO fence. You can guess what that stands for. You got a fence. You got to help people SFO from your life and your space. And I love people, don't get me wrong, man. But, you know, sometimes good fences keep neighbors out, and there's good qualities to all the people who are neighbors around us, but I think it's fun to be like, hey, we got this beautiful fence. The friggin' neighbor drives into it. Also, my nephews drove into it, and someone else mowing the lawn drove into it. Don't tell me you're going to be really careful and not run into my fence. Say we're going to be really careful, and probably at some point, we're going to break some of your stuff.
Well, it is an invisible fence, so.
I have a real fence. We're going to go outside. You want to go outside and figure this out? How you like them apples, all right? I got a fence. Anyways. All right. So you hear what I'm talking about, Nick? Like, you've got to be the Sherpa. And as soon as you look at all the touch points, every place someone hears about your company, and if there's specific ways that you can demonstrate that, you know what, I don't want to just get new customers. I don't want to just get new leads. I want to take such incredible care of obsessing about what they're worried about, what they're stressed about, what's keeping them up at night, that I don't just list what they're worried about. I help them understand some of the things they might need to be aware of and would be worried about if we don't point them to the kind of help we can provide. The second point of the trust triangle that sends out crazy trust signals, again, there's a whole list that we can get into. We don't have a whole bunch of time. But first of all, I would do this. First, I don't want to jump past first one. Being a Sherpa, sit down, think what a Sherpa does. Watch a couple movies on Sherpas and be like, holy crap. How could I cross-pollinate being a Sherpa? Have you ever seen them go to Everest and they lay these ladders down and they say, it's okay, it's going to be fine, we've got great. I don't know the accent, I apologize. You come across this ladder, everything's going to be good. And you're like, see these people like hanging, right? And there's a fissure and they could die. And there's these places where you see frozen bodies. It's like, I want someone to guide me. How could your business be prepared, know the milestones, know where this is where we lay down the ladder, this is where it's going to be okay, this is how we protect, what this does is it sets you up for the second point. So I would make a list of how could you be a Sherpa? How could you reveal and illustrate, not as a lead magnet or a tripwire or a way to hook people in or bullshit like that. Because you know what? Who wants to trip someone? That's kind of violent. It's sort of selfish. What if you could actually demonstrate caring through actions, which speak out louder than words, and make a list of how you might be able to do that? You'll probably be the first one in your industry. Be like, no, I got a process listed. Yeah, here's all the good stuff we do. Go find the bad news on your website. Go find the bad news and the worries and the risks that your salespeople share. Go reveal the education that you're not sharing. All right, and the second thing that's really important for creating this trust triangle is actually demonstrating to people that you've created buying criteria. So you've got an idea of like, at least make sure that you do this. I want you to make sure you at least do this. And share a list of make sure that, we're not going to pick an industry and give an example because you'll be like, oh my God, he's talking about HVAC. Oh my God, he's talking about law firms. Oh my God, it doesn't matter what service you offer. It doesn't matter what business you have. But I'll just say make a list of, oh, look at that. We lost our logo. This is our dry run here. I want to bring the logo back up. Maybe the battery died. Is it coming back up? Whatever. You know what? You guys recognize what it looks like. We can montage it back on there afterwards. You know what? There's going to be mistakes and problems sometime. All right.
Real life.
Try and visualize this as Minimalist CEO Podcast. All right. I can't believe the lights are still on. That's working out really well. Brand new studio. Earlier, the lights were going off like crazy. And I wanted to build an awesome studio. And shout out to Jordan Feder for helping me build it, design it, and his entire vision for this with me, kind of sketching it out. It's awesome. So shout out to Jordan. Thanks for that help. Awesome dude. Good friend. Boom. Hang loose. Thanks, buddy. Hope you're enjoying the lake. Happy birthday to your girl, to your daughter. Okay, so now you build buying criteria. What you do is list out, okay, here's the steps you need to navigate and what will happen if you don't. What are the risks of not navigating it this way? So now you're moving into setting buying criteria. And what you're doing is demonstrating authority through actually having done the work. So you're a Sherpa, okay? You're going to share some risks. Now you're going to set buying criteria. You're going to make a clear picture. Okay, as you navigate this, here's what you need to do. So you're actually going to move from being a Sherpa to starting Sherpa-ing, right? Is that a word? And then the third, and just make a list. What are the criteria? And incidentally, here's why it's buying criteria. You list it out. Incidentally, super powerful way to do this. If you know how to deliver on that buying criteria and maybe your competitors don't, you become a category of one. You literally become the only option. So do you want to go spend a ton more money on ads, or you want to cut your ad budget in half and actually be a category of one where they say, I can only get that from them?
Yeah.
And that's the power of buying criteria. Now, the third point of the trust triangle, and I'm going to give you a chance to comment, but I want to get through it, kind of keep the momentum going, Nick. And I know you've heard this, you understand this anyways. The third point of the trust triangle is a directed engagement. When your sales team or when your company works with people and talks to people, don't let them tell you what they're going to get at risk of not getting what they actually need. Tell them an agenda. Take them through a series of steps. Help them make a healthy decision. Make sure they know the buying criteria. Make sure they know that you're the Sherpa. Make sure you take them, hey, listen, this is how we guide people through this process, and be willing to say no to someone who wants to tell you how to do it. Become so clear on your process that when you take people through it, you're the authority. So where is it that your customer is dictating when you give them a price, how you give them a price, how fast you get them a price, how you're going to deliver, when you're going to deliver, when they text you, when they phone call you, when they call your team? Are they there to dictate your process so then you can jump? They say jump, you say how high? Or can you say, I know you're looking to solve this problem. I know your house is really hot, you need some air conditioning to be working. Here's our process to make sure this gets done and gets done right. Here's how we gather information. Here's how we do a discovery call. Here's how we send a team member out to navigate this. And the idea of the third point is what you're doing is directly guiding. You're the director of the process, of the agenda, of every touch point, every engagement. So it's like when someone comes in, listen, I would love to help you. Here's how we here at the Minimalist CEO and Innerspire, here's how we help you. Here's how we're going to help you get the most success. If you want to go navigate getting the success your way, you can jump out and find someone who wants you to direct it. But if you want to get things done, if you're going to think of it as the parachute instructor. So the third point is being the parachute instructor. If you want to fly in my plane, you want to have a safe jump, then don't come in and tell me how to fly my plane. Don't pack your chute. Don't think you're going to pack your chute. Don't tell me where we're going to fly. Don't tell me when you're going to jump, how fast we should be going, and then come back and blame me for the landing. If you don't like your experience, you know what? Don't come into my parachute class, my business. And so be a parachute instructor and don't let people pack their own chute. That creates authority. I also call this the doctor effect. You ever go into a surgeon's office and say, no, let me tell you how I want you to do my surgery on my shoulder. I know I broke it. Let me walk you through what I'd like you to do. And by the way, do you have any coupons? And do you do 24/7 service? Can you give me a deal today? You got to get into that doctor effect position. I think about working with Mike. He came in, we just talked to him. We get this guy in a restoration company. We had this process and people were sort of dictating the way he was going to work with people. And it's like, well, just act like a doctor. His conversion rate, adding these trust signals in, went from 15% to 72%. He made $511,000 in 19 days. 19 days. Just by creating these trust signals, becoming the Sherpa, and setting buying criteria. And then he started providing books and expertise for remediation that doctors started putting on their counters and helping their patients with. I mean, it's blown his business up. So it's like, be the doctor, not the poker player. Don't be like, oh, how much can I get from someone? Or ready for this? Let me reduce the price to make sure I can get the project. Like you're talking about with voiceovers, don't be that guy. So that's trust signals. And you know what I want to do? I think I want to save the pop block for another episode. So take a minute and please subscribe to the Minimalist CEO podcast. Take a minute to join us. I want you to we're going to have some really good stuff. And in the next episode, what we'll do is we'll get into how do you create a purpose-driven, outcome-focused plan of action. So you'll understand a process. Nick, you went through the process.
Yep.
What's it like?
It's pretty incredible. It just, it really does give you tremendous focus and it distills things down to a very clear vision. There's no ambiguity. There's, it's just.
Do you need to spend a ton of money on marketing to make it work?
No.
Do you need to have a massive to-do list so you hate your job, hate your work, hate your business?
No.
What happens to your trust in yourself when you know step by step exactly, not a to-do list, but having a purpose, having the fuel in the tank? What does it feel like to get up in the morning and say, here's the lives that I'm changing, here's the three committed projects that I'm pursuing, and I know how this ties to my ultimate vision for my purpose being on this earth. How does that feel?
Well, it feels great, and it also builds your confidence. You know you won't let you down.
Yeah.
And that's really what it boils down to. Every time you don't follow through on something, the first person you let down is yourself.
Yeah. So getting yourself to, part of the keeping a promise, what we've learned in the pop blocks is when you get on purpose, you get a clear outcome, you're purpose driven, and then you have a plan of action. And you take the time to say, like, what is this plan of action? You know, instead of saying, I have to put up a website, I have to get some marketing, you break it down into little granular pieces and you commit to it. You get the vision clear. You decide, how do I want to feel while I'm building this? So, and then when you're building it, you're feeling it. So you're not like, oh my God, I'm only happy when I hit the goal. Because then you get this little fleeting sense of like, oh my God, I hit the goal. And then later on, what do you end up with? You end up with like, sort of like this journey remorse because you weren't there.
Yeah.
And how many times in your business, this is something to keep in mind, how many times are you not there while you're in your business day, just trying to get through it? You know, I think the opposite, if you think about that, the opposite of luxury, the opposite of success, the opposite of fulfillment, to me, is rushing through it and not being there for it. Like, wouldn't it be the coolest thing ever to not rush through it and actually be present for it? So understanding how to develop this process, understanding what role you're playing and why it juices you up. You know, we did this workshop we talked about earlier too, Nick, called the You Juice workshop, which is like, oh my God, I am so clear who I'm being. It's like we spend all this time picking a movie. You ever pick a movie at night and you go through Netflix or whatever and you're like, oh, we're going to do movie night. And an hour and a half later, you're still looking at movie trailers because you're so discerning and careful about what movie you're going to watch.
Yeah.
But how discerning and carefully planned are you at designing the way you're going to build your business in your life? Looking at your mind, your body, your spirit, your relationships, your business, your adventure, novel experiences, how to break free and get creative and have space to love what you're doing and who you're being during the day. The You Juice workshop helps people actually create a movie trailer of their life, a movie trailer of how they're building their business. And then it's like, if there was a movie trailer of your life right now, is this a movie you'd want to watch? Is it even a life that you'd want to live any of? Do you like the main character? Would you put you in the movie? Right? So you've been through this process. We've been working together over 5 years. Two things, okay? Sure. What results, tangible results to me, I've got this important, I think tangible results are a feeling, okay? How you're feeling is important. It's a quality of life. It's an event that's happened for you, and it's also numbers. So if you can give a snapshot, what tangible results have you had in feeling, events, and numbers? And then the second question, if you can hold this all together, is...
You're asking a lot of a guy my age. No.
Don't let the old guy in. Keep pedaling, you won't fall over. All right, so it's... you got that? Answer that first, and I'll ask the second question after.
Well,
tangible
no,
result.
The first
feeling.
tangible result really is just...
Why are you working with me after 5.5 years? What's the tangible results you've gotten? Now that you're implementing, you're going through this process, you've obviously come back to work with us even longer, you've re-engaged for another contract. So what are the tangible results? People don't do
confidence and clarity.
Okay.
Really. And
so that's how you're feeling, is confident and clear.
Oh, very much so.
How about, do you feel fulfilled by your work in a way that you weren't before?
Oh, well, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I've always been felt fulfillment from the work, but it's certainly raised the level of that feeling.
And what about events? Like, is there an event that you could discern, something you could share about a journey, a change, something that's happened?
It's interesting because in putting myself out there and talking about what I'm talking about with the industry, people, I think, really do understand that I do have a very genuine desire to make this business better, to raise the level and the pay scale and the kind of work we're getting and things like that. And I think because they feel that that is a genuine concern of mine and something I want to make happen for everybody, including myself. I'm not, trust me, it's not completely altruistic. But
making money's okay, dude.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. And luckily, the people I work with pay well because they know what they're getting. And
let's talk about that. Like, so you're on purpose now. You obviously have an awesome mission. Yeah. When we started it, we talked about it. It was like, I mean, the contrast was, I want to get more customers and grow the business. Now it's, holy crap, I get this story. I'm on this mission, and people are joining you in that mission.
They are.
So what's happened? Like, what's progress have you had financially?
Well, it's definitely changed the amount of revenue that I'm generating through the stuff that I'm working and the people I'm working with, because they know that I'm going to give them what I promised, and I will work hard to make sure that they get what we've discussed and what we've agreed upon. Because if I don't show them the way, they can't make the journey.
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose. I mean,
We're the
you've been-
voiceover Yoda, right?
well, yes, but you've been the Sherpa in my life for some time now. And, kind of going back to the whole trust thing, when I mentioned the first person you let down is you when you don't follow through, I learned that from Nate. I'm sorry. It's just, he says things in a way that you kind of take them in and you understand them and you live by them. And that really is, the bottom line always, always, always is make sure you deliver on your promises.
Do what you say you're going to do. When you give it, I appreciate you saying that. When you give a command to yourself, I know the times where I wasn't following through on what I said I was going to do. Whether it's at home, whether it's when I wake up in the morning and say, this is how I'm going to take care of my body. When I start the day and think, what do I have to do today? It's moved into like, what kind of impact am I going to create? Who's counting on me today? What's my purpose? What's my, how do I want to feel today? And what's going to help me feel that way? Because listen, we do everything because of how it makes us feel and because we want to create some change. Yeah. And creating change is only because of how we believe that change is going to make us feel, and helping someone else feel a certain way is also about how it's going to make us feel.
Yeah.
Instead of getting a to-do list done, making more money, oh yay, it's a fleeting thing. But imagine if your biggest celebration is the impact and the money just follows.
Well, and that's true.
I think that's rare these days.
If you do what you love and you're completely enthusiastic about it and real,
yeah,
you don't have to worry about money. People will want to learn from you. They will pay you to learn what you know.
Well, and I would say that you know that more now than you did 5.5 years ago.
Oh, without doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Because you were, for sure, undervaluing yourself. You were focusing on driving traffic and trying to get more customers. And now you're a lighthouse. You're showing other artists that they don't have to sell out. They don't have to go cheap. They don't have to be the discount. They can start to see their own value. Yeah. And that's a filter that needed to be built. So kudos to you, man. Well, I'm excited about what you have coming up next. So if you're open to it, I'd love to have you share your progress. You've set a goal. Now, you've seen examples of other clients who I've worked with who are business owners, but we set a pretty interesting goal today using the One Focus Power System.
Yes.
So you've set two we talked about the business goal a little bit. So right now we're setting up a $100,000 a month business model, a brand new business for you, in addition to the one you already have, and the realization of that over the next 30 days. So you're on track right now to launch that, get it launched over the next 30 days, hit that goal within 90 days. So we already talked about that. It's all part of this mission. It's all part of that purpose. You've already moved, you have tens of thousands of dollars already moving that direction. Yeah. So now let's look at, what's the other goal that you set today? Are you willing to share that?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think anybody who can see me on camera will realize that I would like to lose some weight. Yeah. And we're talking about roughly a third of who I am right now. Actually, maybe just a hair more. But anyway, but that's the long-term goal. I mean, to be honest, we have longevity in my family. I had a great-grandmother who was 106. My grandmothers were 97 years old when they passed. My uncle's still alive at 98. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to the last 30 years of my life to be miserable. I want to make the last 30 years of my life something where I can run around and play with my granddaughter and do all the stuff that I was put here to do. Yeah. And
well, you're hitting the financial goals.
Yep.
You're hitting new business goals.
Yeah.
And dude, I give you tons of credibility for sharing that. I think that a goal. Can I share your number goal? Do you want to share it?
Sure.
Nick has a goal of hitting 179 pounds. We've got Dan who's cut 56 pounds, I think, or something like that. Yeah. These are business owners. He also doubled his income and take-home income. And now Nick's going after that to hit that goal. I was 206 pounds, so I love working with business owners who were stressed out, but your stress is going away. I mean, you've reduced it, you're focused, you're on purpose, but now to come and be like, okay, I want to continue to, I'd say grow, but you're...
Grow in the right way. Strong.
Yeah, to grow strong, to grow energy, to grow in health. And so awesome. I'm here to support that. And a big part of building businesses can sometimes be fast food, unconscious eating, noticing the patterns. So all my clients carry something called the Noticing Journal. And this isn't a pitch or anything. I'm just going to say really clearly, like, I love people. I love that you're here watching the podcast. And, we're on a mission here to say, like, listen, like, loving what you do and making it so that you're bringing out your very best gifts is your right as a business owner. It's just don't let yourself be so busy trying to make a living, trying to make more money, trying to get more customers, trying to get your team to work, that you don't take a step back and get some perspective and realize, like, you're creating this. These are results that you're creating, and that getting more customers doesn't fix it. I don't even know where I ever heard this. At some point, a long time ago, someone talked about business and growth and ads and marketing, all these business machines, attraction, conversion, delivery, our 5 business machines, financial and legal. And it's like, you can get all this stuff dialed in just perfectly, but you cannot successfully outrun stupid. And so the faster, the more successful your systems might be at hitting a goal, it could very well mean that it either puts you in an early grave or it makes you get done the journey and be like, I was not there, I was not fulfilled. So being fulfilled in business makes a better business, makes more money, gets the right customers, not just more customers, and also helps you grow your business in the 4 ways that you need to grow a business, which is more customers, more dollars per customer, more frequency of those dollars, and a longer term, more committed, loyal, trusting, integrity-rich relationship. So, which I'm honored to say that we have that relationship with you as a client and also as a friend and as a leader in the business community and an incredible talent.
Thank you.
Nick Omana, ladies and gentlemen, incredible voiceover talent. We'll put some contact information for people in the show notes. If you want to get in touch with Nick, you want to find out what he's up to, if you need incredible voiceovers, you got to do a quick example. You've worked in Hollywood, you've done commercials, people have heard. Can you do a voiceover that would be fun for people to hear?
Sure. I think for 8 years I was the in-show announcer for Last Comic Standing.
Oh, there you go.
And it always started off with, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to remember this. It was only 7 seconds and I can't remember. No.
Do your version, your best version. That's
Ladies and gentlemen, the host of Last Comic Standing, Craig Robinson. And then I'd hand off the mic to Craig and he'd go out on stage, and that was a lot of fun. I actually, that's where I started doing stand-up based on hanging out with a bunch of the comics back there.
We'll put we'll put a link to some of your demos in the show notes, because it's like this guy's voice. Also, just go back and listen to the intro of our podcast, because why not? I'm working with a guy like, hey, you want to do our intro? So and there's more good stuff coming. Actually, we are going to be launching the Ultimate Thriving Life podcast.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. We got the event coming up in October. We are going to be giving away some free tickets if you're interested in coming. It's going to be in Chicago, just outside the airport, near the mall over there in Chicago, Illinois. And so if you're interested, someone who's interested, we can get you on the early list. We are going to be giving away a handful of tickets. We got 500 seats available right now. Right now, that's what we've decided we're going to cap it at, so it should sell out pretty quick. We'll have more information on that coming out soon. And, this particular event, you'll get more details, but it's definitely about looking at that place that in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in how you feel about yourself that you've just had enough of. You're like, I've tried this and it hasn't worked. I got to stop this. I got to change this. I've been tolerating this. Enough is enough. I've had enough of the crap. And anyone who comes down to this event is going to get very specific tools, including the POP blocks, the One Focus Power System, access to the Ultimate Thriving Life training to really understand like what actually meat and potatoes allows. See, here's the thing. You know what I love about this? The Ultimate Thriving Life is, and the One Focus Power System, that what we're bringing to people is foundationally how to design the life, the business, the relationships, the body, the health that you absolutely want. And to see that kind of fulfillment is my dream. To go back to basics, to share the gifts formula that I built, which started my business and building my business back in 1991, and to be able to share this with you and share stories with you and introduce people whose lives have changed because of this system. It's not about bringing something to you that you don't already have. You're going to go in there, you're going to realize it's like you're sitting in acres of diamonds. You've got all these incredible gifts, incredible skills, and it's like tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, it's like that you're sitting on a box. If you could just lift it up and look inside, it's like got all the gold, diamonds, opportunities, and everything you've ever wanted right there. So this is about revealing something that everyone who comes to this event, everyone who gets connected with us actually already has. And I just want to show you seeing someone's gifts, elevating someone's gifts, and being like, hey, let's look back. Here's a gift for you that you already have. It's like, let me take it from you and then give it back. I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to give it back. And you'll be like, oh my God, I've had this the whole time. Holy crap, I'm ready to do something with it. So that's what Ultimate Thriving Life is about. Lots more information coming on that. New podcasts coming from that. New episodes of The Minimalist CEO where we focused on doing what's essential in business. So I'm really excited about that. Lots of incredible guests. Nick Omana, ladies and gentlemen, awesome to have you here, Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Any final thoughts? If you had one more thing to share with thousands and thousands of viewers who haven't seen us for a while, on episode number 40, what would you share, Nick?
The one thing I would probably share is today's the day. No matter what it is in your life, today is the day. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here. You got to do it now.
Yeah, Jim Rohn used to say, why not you, why not now? Why not you? Why not now? Thank you for checking it out. Check out the show notes. We'll share some awesome links and resources. We're going to be giving away free tools at ultimatethrivinglife.com. That's going up within the next 2 weeks. Super excited about that. And by the way, if you want to get trust signals into your business, check out trustsignalsmethod.com. You want to find out what that looks like, we have a free training up there. You can take a look at it. It'll really help walk you through this a little bit. More than happy to introduce you to how that works and give you some free tools to get that put in place for your business. Trustsignalsmethod.com. And as always, we're happy to sponsor the Bone Frog Warrior Fallen Navy SEALs. So check out the Bone Frog Warrior team and an amazing group of guys. Jeff, awesome what you're doing over there. And Gary Sinise Band and everything you're doing for the military and supporting these fallen soldiers. So thank you to Gary Sinise. And thank you to Nick again. Subscribe, share this link, and we will absolutely see you in the next episode of the Minimalist CEO podcast. Thanks for coming. And we will figure out how to get this logo to stay up on the screen. Little technical difficulties.
Gremlins.
I think we need some technical gremlins to get back there. And we have turning off gremlins. We need turning on gremlins. That's all we need to do. All right, thanks for coming.
Hey, I hope you loved this episode of the Minimalist CEO podcast. Really excited that you're here. So now just a few things before we wrap up. Just a reminder that our show is absolutely committed to helping children, families, and veterans in need. So when you subscribe, you share it, you get involved, our goal is to raise tens of thousands of dollars for these causes. And when you subscribe, that helps out. Also, all the ticket sales from our events and for the Minimalist CEO will go to all the charities that we support. And to make this journey as valuable for you as possible, we've created a weekly email called One Focus Friday. That's going to give you immediate tips on what we're cutting away to win, as well as access to bonus materials, tools, and opportunities, such as show recaps with key action items and takeaways that you can implement fast. Minimalist Mindset Boot Up, which is a quick and easy action step to start your week off right. And also the Eureka Moment, what's working in our business and in our clients' businesses and what's not. So please go hit the subscribe button on your podcast app of choice and become a part of this game-changing movement of doing less, achieving more, and living fully. And by all means, connect with me, Nate Lindquist, and the team at The Minimalist CEO. That's at The Minimalist CEO on Facebook. Thanks again.